I'm live on Instagram for the first time ever, or maybe the second time ever. Can I get a sound check from the team in the space, just in case? Because I've got a microphone, I've got a contraption on, I'm all set up, but we need to check the tech, innit? Claire Gilbert has joined. Hi! I waved at Claire. Is the sound okay? Nice, I've got thumbs up. I'm here at Raw in Rotherham. Hi, hola Flo. Hey, I wave at Flo. Yes, Ines. Hello. Hi everyone. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Welcome everyone. I'm at Raw in Rotherham, which, if you don't know, it's a town in the north of England. And today we're at Raw. Hi Uzma and Valera. Oh my God, this is so cool. Oh, great. The sound is good. Great. Amazing. As I was saying, we're in Rotherham, which is a town in England, and we're at Raw, which is a DIY space that hosts a lot of artists. Actually, funny story, the building used to be a cooperative funeral care home and is now being taken over, and a lot of things are being born here. And of course, lots of that is art. And of course, today, we're here to see Becoming British live. Hey, Uzma. Hi, Ines. Oh, thank you so much for joining. I come very prepared. I have a contraption here for later, so we can do a nice POV, which means that you will be able to see what's going on in the space, kind of hands-free, so you can really like immerse in the experience, hopefully, and really feel that you're here. And I'm going to wait for a few moments so that more people can join and we can have a chat. Of course, feel free to use the chat and interact. Claire, who's our producer, is on the chat, and she's ready to answer any questions that you may have about the building, about the space, about the work, how we got here. If you were coming to Raw by foot in person, you will be first seeing some artwork downstairs. So if you stay until later, I may be able to show you the artwork downstairs as well. Hi, Samra. Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcoming everyone in the chat. So you come through the building and you see some artwork, and then you either take a lift or walk down up the stairs where I'm at. I'm at the landing, and you come in to the exhibition space, which is called the Buzz Gallery. So let's have a little wander around whilst we're waiting for everyone else to come in and join. Great. Let me just see if I can do this. So here we go. So the Becoming British performance was first started as an exhibition, and the reason being is that I wanted to show to more people what one has to do in order to stay in this country, live in this country, work in this country, or study in this country. Hi, Robo, you've come from Christina. Yeah, great. You'll see her performing later on. So some of the artwork that is in this, here we go. Hello. Some of the artwork that is in this space, in the Buzz Gallery foyer, is kind of the original artwork. I commissioned 4 artists to exhibit with myself, and that was the start of the exploration of Becoming British. So as you're coming through, because the live just started, as you're coming through, I'm going to be flipping between my cameras so you can see me. But also I'll be showing you a bit of the artwork and kind of letting you immerse yourself in what's going on. So the same way that the durational performance work, you can dip in and out of this live. So that's totally fine. You can put it on the background. You can interact. You can ask questions in the chat. Claire is helping in the chat. And yeah, just enjoy the experience. I've been meaning to do a bit more kind of interactive and digital stuff like this for a while, but I am a novice. So if anything goes wrong with the tech or I lose the connection or whatever it might be, bear with me. Yeah. So as I said, hi, Maddie. Hi. Oh, this is so lovely. Thank you, Samra. Thank you so much. I'll give you a little walk around the exhibition area first, and then we can go and see the actual performance, which is, if you can hear, maybe going. And you will also see all the audiences in the space, because we've got people watching at the moment. I think people are just coming up the stairs. So, you know, you're here with us. So enjoy that. Okay.
Hello. Hey, you have becoming British. Yes, welcome. So part of the space is the exhibition. Should you need the loose, just through there. Do you want to hear that? Someone's getting. So you should have 2 comp tickets. My friend Ray put behind. Yes, absolutely. And okay, and we're gonna all put a donation for the third ticket. Oh, great. Yeah. Do you have cash or is it right card?
So as I mentioned to you when we first logged in, this is one of the original pieces. This was actually first a mural and is now lives in this cloth. And one of the commission artists was Chris Campbell, and his work is called No Erasure.
Oh, in that case, I'll just do it online and then I don't think get the rest. Okay, yeah.
So we haven't had yet people that have taken the test today. But we hope, but because the exhibition is up until the end of March, we hope to have more people taking the test. You let me know in the chat if you want to see anything again, or if you're like, oh, I didn't really catch that, or I didn't hear you very much, or whatever you need, you just tell me. We're here together. I'm trying to show things so you get a sense of what's in the space before we go and watch the performance together.
Oh, that's sorry. Oh, I can give you this link for a ticket. It's better if people are cool. How much is that? Okay, I'll just yeah, does that work? Yeah, we haven't got
Yeah, so this is some of the original work, and these flags behind me are the flags that were made in Birmingham. Because we've toured, so far we've been to Sheffield, we've been to Birmingham with the show, and we are here in Rotherham today. Welcome to everyone that's joined just now. We're having a little tour of the foyer at Raw before we go together in the performance so we can watch it. I've also made some merchandise, and this is the first time that I've done this, because I wanted people to take something home if they are enjoying, if they want to also start conversations about immigration and the hostile environment. And what is more British, right, than a good cup of tea? So these are the Becoming British mugs, and they're clearly inspired by the mural that I showed you. They're on sale. Let me know if you're interested. This is my sales pitch. If you're interested, you can support the project by buying a mug. If you're in Sheffield, I would love to come and see you and deliver it in person. For instance, Sally. Hello, Sally. But if you live abroad or you're in any other part of the country, I can send them to you. So just to give you an idea, this is the little foyer. Some audiences coming in, some audiences chilling out.
all right, thank you.
Great. I wonder if we're ready. Oh, I'm people's way. I'm going to show you one more set of flags, and then I think we're probably ready. Give me a heart if you're ready to go and watch the performance for a bit. These are some of the other flags. People are waving at me. Hi. Hello. This is Michelle, production manager. Oh, I saw some hearts. People want to see the performance. Okay, great. Yes, you have to multitask. Hi, Sally. Yeah, I was going to introduce, this is Michelle, production manager extraordinaire. They have been rigging everything, putting power to everything, making sure that everyone's safe, making sure that everything looks perfect. And they're still standing and smiling, which is always a good sign. You know, when your production manager is smiling, you know it's a good thing. Maddie wants to see baked beans. I have a sensation that Maddie knows a little bit about the performance already. Now I'm going to strap you to my device and turn the camera away so you don't have like my double chin, right? So I'm going to turn the camera away and we're going to walk into the performance. Before the performance, you'll see another piece of art that you may have seen. It was at Weston Park in Sheffield, believe it or not. So yeah, let's try this and I'll take you away for a little wander in becoming British. There, you're strapped to my device. Can I give a thumbs up? Is the sound okay? Right. Off we go.
Exactly a cognitive dissonance, and the tends to just distance itself from that history. So I think that's what it is. I think
It's the sense of, and it's difficult because you're asking at the moment, because right at this moment, I think our sense and our identity has been challenged politically by this government. I think it's this sense of, for me, the last couple of years have really made me challenged, I think, what is perceived as Britishness.
the writer from the early age, you grow up thinking England is one thing, Britain is one thing, and by the time you're I don't know, mid-20s, 30s, you realize the totality of the truth of what.
What else makes Britain this?
Maybe you recognize Baby Laura.
Do you think are more synonymous with Britain?
Maybe you recognize this person too.
On a more mundane or practical level, my relationship with the UK is that I live in London, in South London specifically. I am professionally described as a Black British artist. Sometimes I feel compelled to describe that as a British Nigerian artist in rebellion to the word Black because it's a British colonial invention, and as in the pressures gave birth to the necessity to create such a term and attach that to the color of my skin. Whereas,
Thank you so much for coming.
You think will more synonymous with Britain than a good cup of tea. Round and round the fire, leaping through the flames, or joined in circles. Rustically solemn or in rustic laughter, round and round the fire. Few things are more synonymous with Britishness than tea. Lifting heavy feet and clumsy shoes, earth feet slow and free, lifted in country mirth of those long since under earth, nourishing the core, keeping time, keeping the rhythm in their dancing, the rhythm in their dancing, the rhythm in their dancing.
Black, 2 sugars.
As in their living, the living season.
I would have said British in that case. I think it needs to involve the word proud. I find
How do you take
a lot of proudness in British, either
I'm thinking
either because they're considered
maybe
I think it's a sense
black
of,
tea with one sugar.
I think our sense and our
Black
identity
tea
have been
with one
challenged
sugar.
politically by this government. And it's difficult because you're asking at the moment.
I'll do Uzma's order of tea
You're asking.
a second time.
And I think it's this sense of,
So right from an early age, you grow up thinking England is one thing, Britain is one thing.
I think I've always felt and assumed I was British from everything I did. But the one thing that reminds me of I'm British, I've travelled a lot. And whenever I go overseas, that's when it really reminds me of my Britishness. And I think that comes through in humour, in some self-affecting way. And it's just a sense of, you know, how out of date today, now. How out of date today now, but how the empire is so far flung. So I've never not felt British.
Thank you.
I've never not felt British. But I definitely feel it more when I'm overseas. My father is of British descent, but he was actually also born out in Burma because his family had moved out to Burma to build the Great British Railroad there. And so I am British, born and bred, but with some really rich heritage behind me.
So right from an early age, you grow up thinking England is one thing, Britain is one thing. And by the time you're in your, I don't know, mid-20s, 30s, you realize the totality of the truth of what Britain is. If you're able to, I don't know, if you have a friend who shares with you, you know, that the true history, that creates a cognitive dissonance and you know, an attempt to just distance yourself from that. So right from an early age, you grow up thinking England is one thing, Britain is one
Black
thing.
tea.
And by the
White
time
sugar.
you're in your, I don't know,
Thank you.
so
Thank
right
you.
from an early age, you grow up thinking England is one thing, Britain is one thing. And by the time you're in your, I don't know, mid-20s, 30s, you realize the totality of the truth of what Britain is. If you're able to, I don't know, if you have a friend who shares with you, you know, that the true history, that creates a cognitive dissonance. And
There's nothing more British than a cup of tea. There's nothing more British than a cup of tea. Through powerful advertising campaigns and generations of habitual tea drinking, a cup of tea has taken on a singular symbolic potency in the British and especially English imagination. It was a perfect fit for the needs of weary workers in the mills, factories in industrial England. Just as frazzled office workers today will usually stop for at least one tea break in the course of the working day, a cuppa brings comfort to solitary drinkers, but it also functions as a social lubricant. There's nothing more British than a cup of tea. It lends its name to both the high tea enjoyed by the upper classes and builders' tea, strong, brewed in a mug from a tea bag and not a pot with loose leaves. Lukewarm, leaf water, presented as a cure for all of life ills. There is nothing more British than tea.
So rather from an early age, you grow up thinking England is one thing, Britain is one thing. And by the time you're I don't know, mid-20s, 30s, you realize the totality of the truth of what Britain is. If you're able to, I don't know, you have a friend who shares with you, that the true history, that creates a cognitive dissonance. And an attempt to just distance itself from that history. So I think that's what it is. I think there is not built into the educational system to teach the truth, and by the time we're able to grasp the truth, we are coded to completely reject it.
Anything that breaks into one's everyday mode of perception, that causes a break in one's defences and resistance, anything that takes one from one's habitual grounding, from one's defences and resistance, causes the depth to open up, causes a shift in perfection. A violence that occurs gradually and out of fight. A violence of delayed destruction that's dispersed across time and space. Break in one's defences and resistance. A violence that is typically not viewed as violence at all.
Thank you.
Take notice. The other world is lustrous like sea life or twilight. Ambiguous because it's more than one thing at a time.
Hola, Caro.
The migrants
Hola, Anna.
among us. There's nothing more British than tea. This chapter examines the ongoing patterns of segregation, exploitation, dispossession in Britain since the 1960s. As children of the empire found their way to the metropole by incentive, coercion and cunning, they didn't meet inclusion, but housing segregation and spatial marginalisation. A dark room. Take notice. Often requiring electric light at all times of day. A bed, a chair, a dark room, a table, possibly a cupboard, washing in a shared bathroom that often lacked a bath. When we'd come off the boat at Southampton, we didn't walk into council houses. My room was so small I couldn't even change my mind in it. I couldn't even change my mind in it. Take notice. And the rent I was paying was so large I couldn't change my mind in the post office. A dark room, a bed, a chair, a table, possibly a cupboard. Washing in a shared bathroom that often lacked a bath.
Just no sugar.
What I say Britishness is. I think it needs to involve the word proud. I find a lot of proudness in being British, either because they're considered in an old way and coming back to the history, kind of an empire, and there's still a lot of people working towards that idea, or just because they're proud of being here.
think to me, being British was very much part of celebrating also being part of Europe and Europeness. So I think, the whole concept of existing in the EU has been very damaging on the country. I was actually one who believes that the EU needed reforming and that our membership really should challenge some of these things, the negative things about the EU, but that we could celebrate being British. Celebrate being British. I think to me, being British was very much part of celebrating, but that we should celebrate being British. To be British is to be European, to be European is to be British. And I felt we've been forced to make a choice of being British and European, and there is nothing more British than tea. And I think it's damaging, it's actually damaging to our identity of being British. But when you say, what are the things that you've gained about
That's milk, no sugar, please.
Milk, no sugar.
a team of colonial countryside historians work
There you go, Uzma, you're
pupils to explore
becoming
11
British tea.
houses
It's coming.
in connection to empire. Buckland Abbey, Durham Park, Penrith Castle, Kendleston Hall. The Lonely Londoners. Contours of informal cities within the city.
Uzma says thank you.
Little worlds. You stay in the world. You belong to the world and you don't know anything about what is happening in the other ones. These worlds are the derelict spaces that others couldn't really know. With people exiting, people existing. In a dark room, a chair, a table, a room too small to think in.
So right from an early age, you grow up thinking England is one thing, Britain is one thing, and by the time you're mid-20s, 30s, you realize the totality of the truth of what Britain is. If you're able to, if you have a friend who shares with you, the true history, that creates a cognitive dissonance and an attempt to just distance yourself from that history. And so I think that's what it is. I think there is not built into education to teach the truth, and by the time we're able to grasp the truth, we are coded to completely reject it. I think that's why. Yeah.
The television documentaries I have analysed in this chapter, therefore, might be the first markers and investigations of that tendency, where a Grenfell effect can make mainstream media because receptive to emerging tendencies in activist filmmaking and influence the kind of programmes they decide to commission. February 2018, campaigners from Justice for Grenfell put up 3 billboards on 3 vans travelling around London, resembling the ones used in the Academy Award-winning film 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. The billboards contained slogans asking for justice for the victims of the fire, represented another example of how campaigning and screen productions can borrow each other's language and tactics to keep the pressing issues of Grenfell and social housing in the public eye. Borrow each other's language. The room too small to think in, a dark room, a chair, a table. There's nothing more British than tea. Feeling the heat on the ground gave me the slightest glimpse into what it might have felt like in the tower. Looking up, I could feel the looming shadow of this huge blackened tower, and around me the picture upon pictures, pictures upon pictures of faces, the missing residents, whole families presumed dead. As I held my camera, I knew I was about to impinge on what was not only a sobering story, but a raw reality of loss and fiercely visited people in their homes on an ordinary night. On an ordinary night, in a borrowed language, a dark room, a chair, table, a room too small to think in. I held my camera. I saw a reality of loss that visited people on an ordinary night. On an ordinary night, I wanted to give respect and give dignity to what I saw. I wanted my pictures to reflect the worth of each person so that this tragedy would be recorded and not forgotten. The moment I arrive, I work in a circle, photographing as I go around the circumference, around the circumference, around the circumference of the police cordon. I want to remain almost anonymous, not to infringe on the sense of grief I could feel all around me. I was keenly aware of not being from the area, As an outsider, I was deeply moved by what I saw. Sunlight was reflected off another tower block, and no one could realistically walk past all the tributes and missing posters without becoming emotional.
It started the first time I came to visit my partner and they asked what brought me to the UK. It started the first time I came to visit my partner and they asked what brought me to the UK. And I made the stupid mistake of answering that I was there to see someone I was seeing, which now I would never say that. But, I get immediately this whole speech, oh, well, you can't stay here. If you want to stay here, you have to apply for a visa, you have to go home. And I'm like, I'm here for a week, I have a job, I have a lease, I'm in graduate school. Why do you assume that your country is such an enormous draw that whatever life I have somewhere else must be something I'm willing to throw on the trash heap to come be with you? And it feels very...
No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shop. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shop. Make a refugee camp a home for a year or 2 or 10. Stripped and searched. Find prison everywhere. And if you survive, you are greeted on the other side with go-home blacks, refugees, dirty immigrants, asylum seekers. This is my home. This thin edge of barbed wire. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. The clock haunts this space. The clock haunts this space that is so fraught by time. A space of detainment without sentence or conviction. The tuck shop is closed again. Staff disorganized as if caught off guard. Today the room is opened an hour and a half late. A small crowd tensely waiting. Clock haunts this space. Imagine, just walk in my shoes once. You have a normal life and they detain you, take away your takes you away from your family and your kids, it's not normal. If you're going to detain you like an animal, how can you expect them to live a normal life? It's going to be ruining their lives forever. Small room, a room too small to think, a room too small to think in, a chair, a table. There's nothing more British than a cup of tea. The Imperial Empire has been built in opposition with its brothers, making stolen land into property and commodity, and indigenous people into commodified reserve. Just imagine, you walk in my shoes just once. But Britain's dependence on its colonies was not limited to economy and political might. There was a paradox at the core of Britain's insistence on liberal freedoms, which empire brings to life.
So right from an early age, you grow up thinking England is one thing, Britain is one thing. And by the time you're I don't know, mid-20s, 30s, you realize the totality of the truth of what Britain is. If you're able to, I don't know, if you have a friend who shares with you, that the true history, that creates a cognitive
Hello, my darling.
And,
I'm walking around with my live audience on Instagram. You look gorgeous.
So I think that's what it is.
Saying hello to some people. I just thought I'll come out and give us a breather. I thought that I mean, so many moments are so emotional, right? But I don't know, it got me. I don't know if it was because I was kind of like with you all. Let me just, well, that's too close. Yeah. Let me just unhook you from my device. Hello. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Samara. I thought it was powerful too. Let me see if I can find a space where we can chat, because people are mingling in the space here. I thought that was really powerful as well. It really got me, and the way the evidence table is curated is that we read, this is mixed live, so the performer decides what they read in the moment. And you can really feel that when you're in the space. Hope it came across on the live as well. So you kind of never know when you step in what you're going to hear. Oh, Samra, thank you. Mine was too. Mine was too. Thank you, Ness. Yeah. I have completely lost track of time. So this is also what happens when you're in that space. You kind of get into the rhythm and into the details. So let me know in the chat if there's anything you would like to see up close or see again, or I can just leave you to soak up a bit more of what's happening at the performance. Oh, I'm just going to let people go. Thank you so much for coming.
We're going to pop back in a bit anyway.
Oh yes, please come back. Yeah. Did you hear about Claire and the last task that is a bit different?
Yeah.
Did you speak with her? Yeah.
It's going to switch up. Does it switch off and then carry on like that until 9?
So we finish at 9. The last task starts at 8-ish. Okay. So at 8 we kind of have the last task and then we finish.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
See you later.
See you.
Yeah, saying interacting with people. I wonder if some people would like to interact with you guys, because when you are at a performance, it's not just seeing the performance. You kind of like meet people, mingle with people. I'm going to go to Claire because she can't escape me. Oh, hello. Hi. Okay, has been poorly. You've been poorly.
I have been poorly. It's the classic British February.
Yeah. So if you have any questions for us, we're part of the team. Obviously, Claire's been with the project since the very beginning. Without Claire, it wouldn't be possible to do anything, really.
Thank you.
Sorry. Sorry and thank you are the only things that the performers are allowed to use as words, apart from your order for the tea. That's why we keep saying thank you and sorry to each other.
So behind this magic are Laura as the lead artist, Christina, who you saw perform, is the associate director.
She's currently in the dirt.
She is, buried
Oh,
deep.
the people that were here for Christina was under the earth. That was her. That was her nose poking out.
Yeah, so they're Laura and Christina are the lead creatives. We then have a designer, Bethany Wells, a lighting designer named Marty, an amazing production manager named Misha. We have
They met Misha.
Oh, you met Misha. That's great. I'm busy chatting in the space. So sorry, I missed you on the screen. We have. I've now lost my train. Yeah, stage manager, production manager, me, you, Christina, lighting and set, and that's the theme. And then also we have a safeguarding person named Roger, who is also around. And then in every place there are local performers, and so some of the team are doing the tasks for the very first time, and then we have a kind of core team of other first generation migrants who have done it previously at Migration Matters Festival in Sheffield.
Yeah.
And we brought back so that there are some people who already know what's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today we've got people from around here. So we've got people from Doncaster, from Manchester,
Leeds,
from Sheffield, from Leeds, from Nottingham, and one of the performers came from London, who's from the old crew. And every time we tour, we try and have 2 new people or 3 new people, which is the case today, and then 2 people that have, or 3 that have already done it.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that I'm not performing it, which is an out of body experience. It's very different, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't have dirt in my knickers.
No, it's the first time I've not sat there for 6 hours, concerned that everyone has dirt in their knickers.
Yeah. Oh, here's Alex. Right when we talk about dirt in the knickers, more people are joining. Great. This is out of context. But if you've seen the show, which Alex has, you will know what we're talking about. Is because the performers are in the dirt, right?
A key moment that stayed with you since working on this, Laura?
Wow, that's such a great question.
I can give you one.
No, wait, you give yours.
Yeah, I can give mine. So when you're in the space for such a long time, you can sometimes tune out what the evidence table is reading, and then sometimes you choose to come back in. And there was a moment where someone was reading about tea and the history of colonialism as someone was literally being poured their cup of tea and being handed it over. And it was just this moment where we hadn't pre-planned it. It wasn't anything. It was just them in moment, and they clocked each other, and the audience clocked it as well. And it was a really powerful moment as they put it down and they realised what that meant. So that I would say was a really just fortuitous moment.
Yeah, perhaps because it just happened. So I don't know if it's the best moment because it's still in my body and in my mind. When we did it in Birmingham, there was the room was significantly larger than this one, and at some point there was a lot of people mingling, and I did the evidence table at the end. It was my last task after being in the dirt for a very, very long time and being very, very cold. And I just remember my sensation, which is not necessarily what was happening. My sensation was people weren't listening. And
No, they weren't. They were ignoring you. They were having a glass of wine and chatting.
Yeah, they were chatting, and it felt like reliving a lot of the stuff that we talk about and a lot of the stuff that happened when you are in a room full of maybe native people, people who speak the language better than you do, and you're trying to express yourself and you just can't come across, and you're not getting those subtleties in language. And it felt like I love being heard. I think, artists, perhaps that's what we do. We want to communicate and interact and exchange, but having that lack of attention because of the topic of what we were putting out, felt reliving a lot of the experience of coming to different countries and not being from them, and not having a network and not having a community. And I think I was very fragile at the time, and it felt very...
Yeah, it was your 5th hour.
Yeah.
You don't, you know.
And there's not a lot of things that I think affect me like to my core, but I think that moment was very...
Affecting.
Yeah, affecting. And I think
There
it
was
made...
one woman listening to you, that was it.
Yeah. And I think it was... It made it even more important to get going, I guess.
And Uzma asks you, what have you found to be the most challenging activity when you've done it? Because I've not done it, so I can't answer.
Yeah, the most challenging one, they're all challenging in different ways. Some your back is screaming, some your hands are cramping. I personally probably Earth.
Yeah.
If you know me, you know, like my skin, I've got skin issues. So just the thought of spending an hour in the dirt was like, oh, I don't want to do that, but you have to. And also it's cold, it's damp.
We've been working on it being cold, everyone who's watching this very concerned. It has been something that we have been addressing every single time that we've done this performance, because the earth is always very cold, and it's a new kind of earth as well.
Yeah. It's improved, I think, for today, but in Birmingham it was very, very cold.
It was,
it gets everywhere. If you want to do a break, then you leave earth everywhere. You can clearly see where the performers have been.
Yeah, it's quite amazing, and also how everyone approaches burying themselves or not, and how some people are really in it and some people sit much out of it, and if you see them move, and you can quite often forget that someone's there when you're in the space, and then suddenly a movement happens.
Caro, have you, because you say, thank you for sharing the experience, I've been there, have you performed in Earth? I wonder, because I don't know about that. I've seen Caro perform. Caro's also an amazing actress, but I haven't seen either.
I'm just going to raise the time to you.
Yes.
And that you've been streaming over your a lot of time, and as your producer, you're going to be needed.
I didn't know that there was an allotted time.
Those are great questions. What are your 3 words to describe the performance?
I guess I'm going to say harrowing, impactful, important. I'm going to go out there and say those words.
Yeah. I'm going to say what am I going to say? Repetition, heart, individual.
Yeah, she always does.
Yeah, that's my job. My job is...
Could you hold this for a sec so that I can see actually what the time is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm happy to clip you back on, to be honest with you, if you want to hang out and see the transition and the next task. I have battery.
It's a big hour. It's a different
vibe.
Gets you something very different.
Yeah. So if you want to stay, you can stay, because you're here.
But yes, welcome to a producer's job. It's sometimes going, artist is having a lovely time, but I have to hand you over so I can carry on.
Yeah.
To your various things. So it was lovely to see you all. Enjoy the rest of the stream.
Thanks, Claire.
And I might see you again.
Yeah. So I'll be like, I'll clip you back on. We'll go back in the space. Maybe we catch a transition. If you need to go away and peel away, please do. Are you going to be still on the chat?
Yes.
Oh, great. So if you have any questions or you want to see anything specific, you can always tell Claire. I'll clip you back on. Maybe I can say, oh, this is too close. Hold on. Whoop. Maybe I can say hello to some actual audience members. You're not on camera anymore, but you are on our audio.
Oh, okay. Hello.
I'm going to bring you back in. Are you staying for the after party?
Yeah, I'll try to.
Yeah, we have an after party. Thank you for coming. The exhibition is staying up until the end of the month. So if you're around in Rotherham, please come and see it. There'll be parts of the performance of the set of the performance in the Buzz Gallery in the foyer where we were. Thank you, Carol.
The brutality of the colonial project, the bare-faced inhumanity of it, and to consider that your ancestors, your fathers, your grandfathers, your great-grandfathers were weapons of that, who partook joyfully in a lot of cases. Well, it requires you to do all of that work, and Britain does not cater for the fallout of that.
The concept of race is pre-scientific and pseudoscientific. It belongs to the prehistory of the biological sciences. For the past 20 or 40 years, geneticists and anthropologists, when discussing variations in human physical characteristics, have tended to avoid this concept. They have discarded it as artificial and meaningless, obsolete, and almost mystical. Artificial, out of date, if not irrational. A particularly virulent term, a facet of the folklore of Western civilization that is inadequate to account for the facts of human biological variation. Few things are ubiquitous with Britishness as tea. Brewed in a mug, from a tea bag and not a teapot with loose leaves. A lukewarm mug. Leaf water, presented as a cure for all life zones. Her Majesty the Queen has passed Sharing a cup of tea offers the sentimental idea that fundamentally everyone wants the same thing. I am the sugar at the bottom of the English community. Her Majesty the Queen has asked me to welcome you. There are thousands of others British government and fellow British citizens that are, the cup of tea itself. There is no English history without global history. I am the sugar at the bottom of the English community. There are thousands beside me.
Just let it.
Your choice to become is important. Your choice to become is important. Your choice to become is important.
Her Majesty the Queen has